Hi everyone, this video is to shine some light on the seemingly confusing new law and tracking feature in QuickBooks Desktop Payroll for qualified overtime. If you haven't done payroll yet in QuickBooks Desktop in 2026, the first time you do, you're going to pop-up ad asking you to add this new payroll item to your payroll item list, and you can't click out of it, so you have to go through it. And the main thing is coming to this question of whether you follow the Fair Labor Standards Act on a federal level for tracking overtime, or if you have a different tracking mechanism for overtime, such as more stringent state laws, such as California. So this is the main question they're going to ask you. Whether you choose yes or no will depend on how you set it up on QuickBooks. According to this pop-up, if you choose yes, it seems like everything should just work automatically. However, I chose yes and nothing worked automatically. So none of my employees got a new payroll item added to their employee record. The only thing it did was add a qualified OT payroll item to my payroll item list. So let me show you what that looks like. So if you go into your payroll item list after choosing yes, or if you choose no, you'll have to come in here and create one manually. So this is what they put in there, or what you can put in there manually. It's called Qualified OT Tracking, and it's a company contribution. So if you set it up and you create a new payroll item, you want to choose company contribution as the type. So and this is what it'll look like. So you can see up here it says company contribution, which is the type, and it's called Qualified OT Tracking. And you leave these two boxes unchecked, go next. The agency, leave blank. Identifying number, leave blank. And what's important here is you want to keep your liability account and your expense account, they need to be the same. In most situations, these will be different, but in this one, you want them to be the same, because you want the account in QuickBooks tracking this amount to wash out and be zero. So having the same account in here will make sure that the account in QuickBooks always has a $0 balance on your balance sheet if you're using a liability account, or your P&L if you're using an expense account. And then QuickBooks is going to check you and say, are you sure you really want to do this? You say yes. And then for the tax tracking type, you're going to choose Qualified Overtime Tracking. It's a new tracking type that Intuit has added. And then and so that will make sure that this gets reported correctly on your W-2 at the end of 2026. It's going to go in box 12 with a code TT. It's not going to have any effect on your 940, your 941, or your 944. For the taxes, all of these should be blank. There should be no check boxes next to any of the taxes. Calculate based on quantity. They have defaulted it to calculate this item based on quantity. So that's how they defaulted it. I think neither would also work if you're going to set up this manually, because you're just going to have to enter the amount manually anyway. Default rate and limit, you leave those at 0 or blank, and annual restart each year. It's good enough. Click OK, then it'll get added to your payroll item list as Qualified OT Tracking. And then when supposedly they said it would get added to all your employees who have overtime to their employee record. That didn't happen, so you're gonna have to go into every employee, and in the additions, deductions, and company contributions field, you're gonna have to add the payroll item that you just created called Qualified OT Tracking. and just add that, leave the amount and the limit at 0. And you're going to have to do that, put that for every employee that could possibly get overtime for the year. Then when you go to run payroll, you're going to add their, if they have overtime, you'll have their normal overtime rate, which is generally 1.5 times regular rate, and then put their overtime hours in. And then down in other payroll items, or I'm sorry, in a company, in the company summary, you'll see qualified overtime tracking. And I have 103.20 in there. And I'll show you how I did that. Originally it said 0, so I had to manually put that in there. And I don't see any way of forcing QuickBooks to come up with the proper number to calculate it off of the amount of overtime that you put up in the top section over here. So what I did is a little spreadsheet. So if you have the rate of pay, the normal rate of pay for the employee, if it's $30, you're going to pay them time and a half. So you're going to pay them 30 plus half is 15, for a total of $45 per hour for overtime. Now what the qualified OT tracking wants to track is this amount, only this amount, the amount that is above and beyond their normal rate of pay. So the and a half amount. So what you got to do there is figure out if they have 8 hours of overtime, you're just going to have to multiply 8 times the half amount, 1,520. That's the amount that you would put in here at the qualified OT tracking amount. So this will have no effect on their net pay, on their taxes, but they will see it, they should see it on their pay stub if you have the company contributions set up to show in your payroll preferences. And then at the end of the year in their W-2, again, this will go in box 12 with a code TT. Hopefully that helps. Please enter any questions or comments or corrections, especially corrections, in the comments. Thank you.